Continuing now on Daf Tzadi and we stopped around 15 lines up before the bottom of the Amud, and the line starts with Umi Meheman. V'Omar Rabbi Abba Omar Rav Huna Marav Kol Talmud Chacham Shemora Halachu Ba. When a Talmud Chacham comes with a brand new halacha, and he says it in the name of his Rebbe or so forth, and we've never heard such halacha. It was never part of the Mitzoros. So do we believe one single person to change the Misorah and establish a new principle? It depends. Im Kodem Maisa Amara, if he was teaching it for a long time, over and over again to his Talmidim, before the Maisa came liyodo, then Shomim Lo, we accept it. But Im Lav, if he never taught this halacha to his Talmidim, but just at the moment that the question came up, all of a sudden he remembers halacha, ain't Shomim Lo. We're not able to rely on the credibility of this transmission of this Horah, because since he's being mechadish a new dinner, it was never part of the Misorah, we're afraid that he's only responding on the spot to the question that came up, and maybe he's not being absolutely clear about it. He's not, again, not that he's chas v'shalom lying, but maybe in that sensitive, area of the gray area. So in this case, we had a story here about Ben Yasin, who told us in the name of Rabbi Akiva that Rabbi Akiva was matir a ger to marry Eshes Achiv Me'imo, and that's a din chadash. It's a brand new din that we never heard before. So the Gemara gives a number of answers to this question, why we do rely on this new Misorah, this new halacha. Ibai same according to one answer, Ben Yasin Mora Ubahaya. He actually was teaching and transmitting this halacha way before the question came up. And therefore he's believed in his Horah. A second answer, Ibai Sema, Mishum Dekamar Hare Isha Veshiva Baneha. And that is that he said he transmitted this halacha, and even beforehand there were noeg halacha l'maisa based on this story of the 7 children. And Ibai Sema, a third answer, Shiny Hasam Dekamar Maisachrina Bahada. If you recall, Yasin also told us an entire story about Yonah ben Amitai, how many times did the Shechina reveal himself to him. And once he transmitted 2 halachos, to the same extent he's believed with regard to the drush of Rabbi Akiva, Yonah ben Amitai, so too, Migu, he's also believed in this halach. Omar Mar, we go back to that second halacha that Ben Yasin had quoted in the name of Rabbi Akiva, the drasha of Vayhi Dvar Hashem el Yonah Sheinis Leimar, and Rabbi Akiva darshan Sheinis Dibrei Moshchina, but Shlishis Lo Dibrei Moshchina. So the Shechina appeared to Yonah only twice. The Gemara says, wait a minute. Vaksiv, we have another pasuk that the Shechina appeared to Yonah another time on a different occasion, and this pasuk is referring to Yeravam ben Yoash, who Heshiv as Gvul Yisrael, describing the great achievements of Yeravam. Milavo Hamas ad Yama Arava Kidvar Shemer Chadiber Biad Avdo Yonah ben Amitai Novi. So you see that the Shechina was communicating with Yonah another time in order to describe the greatness of Yeravam. Omar Avinal Ske Ninvei Omar. When Rabbi Akiva darshan from the pasuk that it's only Pam Shnia, Shenis Lema, but not Shlishis, that's with regard to Ninveh. Only twice did God speak to Yonah about Ninveh. Another answer is Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Kidvar Hashem shadiber b'yad avdo hanovi. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Yonah about the Jews returning to their boundaries, what he meant to say was in this pasuk was, Yishem shenefach leninveh mira'ah letova Kach b'mei Yeravam ben Yoash nefach lem litzrael nira ala tova. So that this mice of Nineveh was now being used in order to convey a message to Yonah. And that is that, you might get upset, Yonah, about the fact that the original Gzera against Nineveh was Lira'ah. Now it turns to be L'Tovah. But it's a good tiding because we're going to have the same type of change with regard to the destiny of Klal Yisrael at the time of Yeravam ben Yoash. That is going to be a change between the subjugation of Aram. Aram in Melachim Beis, Perek Yud Gimel, was destroying Klal Yisrael, and now L'Tova, now it's a roundabout, it's a switch about, and Yeravam is going to bring about the Jewish people returning to their gvulos. Toshma. Now we get back to the issue about whether or not a ger is allowed to marry his brother's wife. And we're going to bring a proof from a brisa. The brisa says, ger shayolei daso b'kedusha, v'hora'aso shalo b'kedusha. So he was born after his mother's gerus, but he was conceived before she had converted. Yeshlo she'er em v'ein lo she'er av. And the Bryce is going to explain in what situation this is, but basically the principle is that this ger is not related to his father, but he is related to his mother. So anyone in kirvas mishpacha of his mother is related to him. Ketzad, what does this mean? Nasa, if this ger marries achoso mina em yotzi, we cannot tolerate a marriage between a ger and his biological sister if they share the same common mother. And yotzi means that if he went ahead and he married her, we will force him to divorce his wife. Now, technically, on a doraisa level, he would be allowed to marry his own sister because ger shen is ger kekatan shen nolad dami. But that if he's going to marry his sister that was born to the same mother after gerus, then people are going to make a confusion here. And they're going to think that maybe you're allowed to marry your own sister. But, however, mina'av, in the case of marrying his sister that was born from his father, but they had two different mothers, and that means that his sister mina'av, his paternal sister, was born to his father when his father was still a guy, then Yikaya. And the Gemara later on is going to be V'tai. Yikaya means he's not allowed to marry her, but if he went ahead and created new facts on the ground, then B'diavad will recognize the marriage. And the reason for this is that here we don't have any chashash that forces us to compel him to give a get and divorce his wife, his sister. Why? Because everybody knows that a guy is not miyuchas after his father. Right? There are a lot of different loose kind of morality there amongst the goyim, and it's the mother has many relationships with different men and so forth and so on. We can never really be absolutely sure who the father is. Therefore, there's no gzera that he might come to marry his sister if, let's say, he had achotso shenoldo li'ovid mi'icha cheres. Let's say, for example, his paternal sister was born to another woman after the gerus, because even in the worst case scenario, if he would marry such a sister after gerus, he would not violate an Isa, because we don't know who his father is. And here, if you recall, we had a pasuk zirma sutzim zirmasam. Okay, now is a different case in the Brayta. Achos ha'av mina'em. What about an auntie? This is his father's sister. Now, what does it mean, achos ha'av mina'em? This is achoso shel aviv. This is his father's maternal sister. And she's not a sister in the full sense. She's only a half sister. She doesn't share with her his father the same mother. I'm sorry, did I get that right? The same father, only the same mother. So this is achosa of min ha'em. So we're talking about his father's maternal sister, which is achos aviv min ha'em. And the Brisa establishes that if he went and he married her, even b'di'evid yotze, we're not allowed to tolerate this marriage because this is going to be gzera because of achoso me'imo. And as we said before, achoso me'imo is not allowed. It was only achoso me'aviv because there's no yichus to the father.